Today, I want to deliver another one of our practical messages, which I've chosen to title Waiting Rooms. Why do we wait? How do we wait? And how can we start to address this issue of waiting, sitting in those rooms? And sometimes when we find ourselves in these rooms, the decisions are out of our control. So we wait for the decision makers. We wait for faith. We wait and we hope and we fear for what is to come. In other cases, the decisions are very much within our control. And we wait for a whole lot of other reasons. We wait because these decisions are unclear to us. We wait because we are scared of the outcome, scared of making the wrong decisions. Or we wait because these decisions are so important that we want to wait for the right moment. I'm not mentally and emotionally available now. This is too important for me to ruin. So I want to wait for the right moment, for the right skills, for the right support. And so for one reason or the other, we sit on those waiting benches. We wait at the doctor's appointments for those decisions that we think will change our lives, those health decisions. And therefore, emotionally and mentally, you wait to be happy after those things are resolved. And that's the thing with waiting. You don't only wait physically to get up and go and do the things that you need to do, you wait mentally, you wait emotionally. And the common term of procrastination, when we do that waiting to leave that job, waiting to do that activity, waiting to invest more in that relationship, or to engage more with that person, or to leave completely. Waiting because we are struggling now to give what it takes. Because we don't want to risk ruining it if we rush that decision. So we wait for the perfect time, perfect emotion, perfect skill, and life goes by and things escalate and we get stuck and stagnated in those waiting rooms. Whether they are within your control or outside of your control, today's message is meant to explore how we can overcome that waiting, how we can be more decisive, how we can understand that we're even waiting, that we're sitting in those limos. And very often people think that the idea of procrastination or waiting or postponing is because the project is not that important. But psychologists have proven that the more significant the issue, the longer potentially the wait, because the magnitude of its significance is matched by an equal magnitude of worry and anxiety of you ruining it. And therefore, your desire to wait until the right moment, the right focus, the right skill will be elevated by something that you do not want to ruin. And therefore, even though you're very motivated and you want that thing to happen very badly, you're also very likely to wait for the right mindset, the right emotion, the right focus, and the right support to start those things that are really important to you. And you end up procrastinating endlessly to find that perfect fit of rightness. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. Because very often we think that we postpone and procrastinate when we are not motivated or when the activities are not interesting or important enough. But today, I have a very different story to tell you. My name is Aso, and I welcome you warmly to Clear Minds and Self-Healing. I appreciate my returning subscribers, and I encourage you, if you're watching for the first time, to subscribe and join me. I upload content weekly around everyday issues that I find significant to me and hopefully to you. The ultimate goal is to build on your self-awareness using reflection on these topics so that we can grow together, we can heal and learn and empower ourselves so that we can empower those that we love around us. So, why do we procrastinate? Why do we put off things to the point where they get us into so much trouble? School projects, legal issues, final dates, warnings, reminders. And as scared as we are of the outcomes, we still do not get to do those things on time. Now, psychologists believe that procrastination is actually linked to your self worth. And at each stage of time, how you feel about yourself is going to be directly linked to how readily and appropriately you attend to your projects. If you're feeling low, unmotivated, unable, and really not trusting of yourself, you're more likely to delay those projects to a point where you've had a bit more rest, a bit more focus. You're not dwelling in this cloud of issue that is overwhelming you. You're more likely to wait until you've done a bit of research around how to do that project. You're more likely to wait for support from that person that you think is amazing around that issue. And therefore, waiting has nothing to do with motivation and everything to do with how you feel about yourself. The second reason why self-worth is connected to procrastination is because we want to succeed. We don't want to play the fool. We don't want to be laughed at. And therefore, if something is seemingly leading down to a route of failure, you're less likely to attempt it because when you fail at it, it's going to reinforce your low feelings about yourself. So we give ourselves every chance to succeed. And that's when you want to study, to investigate, to wait, to rest, to pick your best moment, to give it your best effort. And then time goes by whilst you're making all that effort and life happens and other things overwhelm you, and that perfect moment of rest and quiet and focus doesn't always come as easily and readily as we thought it would happen. So, how do you start to address procrastination? How do you start to do things differently so that you don't put those things that you love and value so far out of line that they start to drift away? By establishing the self-worth contribution to procrastination, what we are stating is that there's two reasons why we procrastinate. The first one is the value that we see in ourselves, the feelings that we had at the time of procrastination in relation to the value that we place on that outcome, that finished project or its success. And therefore, we give way too much value to that project over our ability at that present moment. And the way to start to tweak that is to start with you from inside out. If the success of that project is meant to enhance this life, beating this life down because of the outcome of that project, which is meant to be positively impactful to you, doesn't make any sense. In other words, we have carefully and ignorantly created a perfection around the outcome that doesn't match the one that we give to the person who needs to be elevated by the outcome of that project. So if you take away that perfect outcome of the project and think about why you're doing it to begin with, why are you embarking on any project on earth? If it's to help you, if it's to help your family, then beating and minimizing and shifting you to the background for the outcome of that project doesn't make any sense. It dismisses your own very outcome for the project. So why are you starting this project? That's always a good place to start. I want to make myself happier. I want to elevate me to another position. I want to make my family happier. that's a good starting point where your motivation itself includes your self-worth. It builds on your self-worth, and therefore these two can work together in the project. You're passionate about it, you're motivated to start it because you want to bring it home to include and improve you. The other thing is because we minimize ourselves too much. Because ultimately, after putting it off for so long, we still do it. Probably without the skills, and sometimes even without that help that we thought we needed. Sometimes we bring in the help and it lets us down, and we turn around and do it anyways, which means that we had it in us the whole time. We just didn't have the belief in self. That worth was absent. And that's why we keep coming back to start here. We spend a lot of our time waiting in self inflicted waiting rooms. And some of these rooms may have been imposed on us by life, such as health, such as trauma, such as things that we did not invite, but they are sitting in our lives now, and we are waiting for them to leave before we get happy. And those waiting times are now on us. It's almost as if we don't feel the permission to be happy now with those things present. Like we have to wait for them to disappear. We have to wait to be better financially. We have to wait for those relationship conditions to be more conducive. Wait to be treated better than them. Wait until we are prettier or healthier or richer to leave those people who are using you as a doormat. And all those waiting rooms that diminish us are diminishing us because we have already diminished ourselves mentally, physically, psychologically, and emotionally. We are sitting there telling ourselves that these people and these things and these countries are breaking us down. But we are the ones with the control to make the most of what we have left of that health issue, of that financial issue, of that economic crisis. We are waiting to smile tomorrow after that problem, but we can smile now irrespective of that problem and wait to be having a bigger smile another day. So, what is your room that you feel stuck in, that you're waiting to emerge from after that issue, after you're bigger, prettier, healthier, richer, happier? What is it that you're waiting for? Take the first step now, because if that happiness is for you, if that project is meant to elevate you, putting it off so that you can be better, putting it off so that it can be better is putting you off. Putting you off day after day, week after week, endlessly. And life happens. Other things come upon you. Other ills come upon you. And that right, perfect health, focus, time, rest, money doesn't come. And then we procrastinate endlessly. What is it that you need to step out of? That you need a smaller lens to look through? That you need a more positive, more grateful attitude to approach? And really come back to loving this person enough to decide that, wrong or right, you're going to walk out of that issue, walk into the new version of the first step that you need to take towards it. I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, please share, motivate, and empower someone else, and come back and join me next week for another episode of our Elevate and Empower mission.